Over 100 years ago, in November 1910, the Institute of Electrical Engineers held their inaugural address in the new home of the institution in Savoy Place. The first action of the president of the time, Gianni de Ferranti, was to thank the sister Institute of Civil Engineers for providing a meeting space for them for the previous 38 years. One of the first steps taken by the council was to invite kindred societies to use the Grand Lecture Theatre at Savoy Place, and so began 100 years of knowledge sharing, networking, discussions and meetings in this building. Today, things are changing again as another exciting chapter begins in the life of the institution as it leaves Savoy Place for 2 years while a major refurbishment programme takes place reconnecting with its past.
That was one of the things that we thought was most important, to sort of restore the building to something like how it originally had functioned. The best way of using any building is to look at how it originally was designed and then to sort of tease out of that where current day requirements and those earlier day requirements sort of fit together. But as I say, the other aspect that we found interesting was this sort of this emotional agenda, this basically thing that says it's not just a matter of providing rooms that do particular jobs, it's how they come together and how it will enable our members to sort of to function.
It was the death of Lord Kelvin in December 1907 that spurred the institution into finding a building that would represent a memorial to his work and to provide a suitable space to conduct the business of the institution.
All the services in the building are, well and truly at the end of their life. They do need replacing. The AV and IT facilities are, nothing like what they need to be, particularly for an institution like the IET. So it's an opportunity to strip it all out, retain the fabric of the building, and then put it all back again. But this time as a means of providing facilities for the future.
The Duchy of Lancaster had been leasing Savoy Place to the Royal College of Physicians and Surgeons since 1885, using it as an examination hall. By 1909, the various London hospitals had provided their own research laboratories and lecture theatres, so the leases on Savoy Place were available. It always felt grand coming into the building. You immediately feel that this is a place of substance and history.
This was a pretty unique building in a number of respects. I mean, you go into that lovely marble entrance hall that IEE originally put in 1909, no lifts there. Circulation within the building was a complete nightmare. It was very difficult to orientate yourself. And the whole point about making a building feel comfortable and familiar is that people can instinctively find their way around the building.
The marbled foyer leads to the inner sanctum, the lecture theatre. Altered and extended in 1910 before the inaugural address, this richly panelled theatre pays homage to the learned men who provided insight and breakthroughs in our understanding of how electricity behaves and can be harnessed. Other guest institutions have used its grandeur to announce and launch innovations of their own, and as the practice of engineering has become more interdisciplinary over the years, the range of sectors represented by the membership base has also expanded.
Well, yes, engineering has changed, technology's changed, it's continued to develop at a huge and rapid pace. But the interest, you still need people to carry out engineering activities, and they still need to learn about developments in engineering. And that is one of the prime purposes of the building. So 100 years ago you might have had an eminent engineer of the day giving a talk about how the railway was being built, for example, from Manchester to London. And next week we should be having a talk in there about how we might build the next railway from Manchester to London or not. And that's still as relevant today as it was then, really.
The lecture theatre also bears witness to another important advance in the profession, recognition of the success of women in engineering. If the lecture theatre is the focal point of the spoken word, the library and archives is the home of the written word. The residing president in 1909 put this into words at the opening. The large room along most of the front of the first floor will form the library. It'll be one of the handsomest libraries possessed by any scientific or engineering institution in London.
Well, the original purpose of the institution was for telegraph engineers, and telegraph engineers dealt with basically communication by telegraph, electrical communication by telegraph, and that's evolved now to cover the full range of technology, from microchip technology, Apple iPad in your hand, right through to very heavy engineering, wind turbine generators. So there's a full range of engineering disciplines covered that is much broader than it used to be when it was the Institution of Telegraph Engineers. And now the Institution of Engineering and Technology provides a home for all these different types of technology, and particularly those on complex systems where they merge together.
Yeah.
And you're involved in some very difficult technological projects which involve very many different disciplines. And the whole idea of our institution is to provide a home mechanism for those different disciplines to come together.
The institution conducts much of its governance business here in London, and Savoy Place is conveniently located to host the various meetings of the boards, technical groups, local networks and policy groups. However, the building is not ideally configured for the ongoing business of an important engineering institution.
Yes, I mean the building has become, in the past 15 years, somewhat bland, and when you go into the building as it was, you wouldn't have known that you were in any building that had anything to do with engineering. And we want to change that. We want it to be apparent to whoever goes into that building, whether they be commercial users of the building who are not from the engineering space, or our own engineers and technicians and like-minded bodies. They understand that that building is about engineering, and they can see things about engineering to help tell the story and inspire them.
The building is treasured by members, as are some of the artefacts within it. This is Faraday's desk, and it had to be carefully moved and stored in a safe place so that it can remain an inspiration to future students of engineering 150 years from now. This is the first electric lift in London, and it will continue to ferry members around the building after the restoration. Old and new coexist in the new vision. Moving a large and active institution is no easy business. The planning for the evacuation has taken many months. Along with some very special artefacts and treasures, the IET archive has over 65,000 books, taking up 30 kilometres of shelf space. Everything is boxed and barcoded so that the important knowledge contained therein can be easily retrieved in the future. This procedure and task is, in itself, monumental. Certainly, the need to meet and share knowledge has not diminished, but modern knowledge sharing is no longer totally reliant on face-to-face meetings. The building must adapt to the needs of a global network, so members can meet virtually and participate irrespective of how many miles separates them. The new building faces these challenges. Not only protecting the vital heritage of the institution, but demonstrating that a central London headquarters can continue to play an important role for its various stakeholders.
The fact that it's in a world city, it's in this location, it's very, very accessible. And if you're going to reach out to people, you need to make it accessible. A wonderful building in a parkland setting somewhere away is never ever going to be used. So a London location, a London venue is something that is very, very important. If that role is going to be sort of taken forward of saying, we're needed, we're here, come and join us, come and see what we're doing, that needs to be therefore, I think, in a central London location. If it had all been moved out to Stevenage, it would be history.
Inspiring the next generations of engineers and technologists and promoting the contribution of engineering in society are just some of the concerns of the IET. As Savoy Place enters the reconstruction phase, we will follow the journey of the building programme and explore further the rich past of the institution, the innovations of its members and the fundamental reasons why this international organisation must continue to pursue the great vision set out by its forefathers nearly 150 years ago.